In this video, I'm going to show you how to clone a group repo for Game 120 and then add your level into it. This video assumes that someone else in your group has already set up the repo for your project and that you have your own Unity project with your own scene within it. So here I am working in my own Unity project. This level is very simple, but it demonstrates everything that we need to do this next step, essentially. I have my own level here, and the only thing in it is this terrain. The first thing that I need to do, the absolute first thing I need to do, is I need to make sure that my files are named something unique for my project. So a big issue that we always see is people leaving their scene names as sample scene, which is the default Unity scene. This needs to be renamed to something, whatever your scene is. So I'm going to call this Dave's scene, right? Or Dave's level or whatever else. You need to make sure it's unique. It could be level 3. It could be the mountain scene, whatever you want. The next thing is my terrain here actually uses this terrain data. And so if you don't rename this terrain file that's over here in your assets, this is the data for this terrain in my level. If you don't rename this, then when you import this into another Unity project, it's going to stomp over other people's terrain files. So if multiple people have the same terrain file with the same name, when you import your data into that Unity project, you're going to save over their data. So the next thing is make sure that your terrain data is named something unique as well. So I'm going to call this Dave's terrain. All right. The final thing that we're going to do is we're going to export the data that we need from this Unity project and get it ready to be imported into my group's Unity project. To do that, I'm going to go to Assets, Export Package. Exporting a package from Unity allows me to export anything from my project so that I can import it into a different project. I'm going to export my scene, my terrain, and then this is also where you'd export anything else that your scene uses, potentially any prefabs you've created, any objects that you're using, any other materials, any other data that your scene's using. You need to check those files here. If you're unsure, the best thing to do is just export more than you think you need. Just export more things. Worst case is you're just going to import more into your group project, which is fine. Last thing I do is I'm going to hit export. This is going to save out a file containing all these things that I'm exporting. So for me, it's just my terrain and my scene. And for convenience, I'm just going to put this right on my desktop. And I'm just going to call it Dave's scene. Excellent. It saves out this file called davesscene.unitypackage. Cool. Let's note that for later. And I'm going to go ahead and close this Unity project. We don't need it anymore. This is the last time that you should work in your own Unity project. From now forward, we're going to start working on the one Unity project that we have that we're collaborating on with my group. Next thing I need to do, I need to get access to the repo that my group has created for me, or that someone else in my group has created. To do that, I'm going to go log into gitlab.com. You should have been invited to a project already by someone else in your group. They went through the process of creating the repo and initializing it with a Unity project. You are now going to download that repo into your machine and import your data into it. When I log into gitlab.com, I can see that I'm already on this project here, game120-group name. This was set up by someone else in my group and shared with me. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. And here it is. Someone else in my group, in reality it was me for demonstration purposes, but someone else in my group has already created this repo and they've added a Unity project to it, just called group project. First thing I need to do is I need to clone this to my desktop. So I'm going to go clone, and then I'm going to hit copy on this link here. Copy. I use Git fork for all of my repo management. It's a really great tool. If you watch the other video, I already talked about it in there. You can download this from git-fork.com. In this page, it does say that it's $50, but there's a free evaluation. The evaluation period lasts forever. So you can download this for free and use it forever. You don't need to pay the $50. It's more of like a donation. However, if you do have that funding available, I would go ahead and send a couple bucks towards the developer who made this. It's a really great tool. But no worries if you don't. So go ahead and download Fork for Windows or Mac if you're using that. And then open it up. It's going to look like this. I'm going to go File, Clone, right here. And then I'm going to paste the address from my repo that I copied from gitlab.com. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine where on my computer I want to put this. This could be in your SNHU folder, it could be on your desktop, wherever you keep all of your files for your schoolwork on your computer. For me, I'm just going to put it right on my desktop so I have very quick access to this. And I'm going to leave it named the default name here, GM120-group name. I'm going to hit clone. Notice what it's going to download. It's going to download a new folder onto my desktop, which I have right here, my Game 120 group name. Also on my desktop, I have this as well, which is the Unity package that I exported. Right? Let's take a look at this folder that I just cloned. In this, I have a README file, which was initialized with the repo when that was created. I have my group Unity project, which has assets, packages, so on and so forth. And it also has this git ignore, which someone else in my group should have set up for me. If you download your repo and you don't see this git ignore file here, then you're going to have issues. Make sure you pause here and group up with and chat with the rest of your group and make sure that your repo has been initialized correctly. If you see a library directory at this point without even opening up your Unity project yet, you are already going to be running into issues. So make sure you get that squared away. Go follow the other video first on setting up your repo and make sure you follow that precisely. All right. This looks good. I've got my Unity project. I've got my git ignore. Great. Let's open this project up. To open this project, I'm going to open Unity Hub. Inside Unity Hub, I'm not going to hit this new button because it's not a new project. What I want to do is I want to add an existing project. So I'm going to hit this add button, and then I'm going to point it to that directory that I just downloaded. I put it on my desktop here, right? You put it wherever you put your cloned repos. I'm going to open up that. I'm going to open up the group project folder within that repo, right? Which is the one we were just looking at. This is my repo that I cloned. It's my group project. And here's the Unity project. I can tell it's a Unity project because I'm looking at assets, packages, project settings, so on and so forth. And I'm going to hit select folder. Okay. Ooh, let's try that again because I had that thing selected. Select folder. Great. Here's my group project. I want to make sure that I have the same version of the group project. If you have a yellow exclamation point right here in Unity Hub, it means that you don't have the right version of Unity installed. At this point, if you have a yellow exclamation point, note what Unity version your group is using, go over to the installs, and then hit add and install that specific version of Unity. Everyone on the project should be using the same version of Unity. You don't want to be using different versions while working on the same project. All right, now that I have this, I have my group project from my repo. I'm using the right version of Unity. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. The first time I open this up, this may take a few minutes. And actually, I'm looking at a progress bar on my second monitor. I'll just bring it over here so you can guys see what I'm looking at. But I'm looking at the progress bar for Unity for opening up this new project. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to import my scene that I exported from my old project into my group project and then push that up to the server. I'll take this moment while it's loading the project to note that back here in Git fork, if I go to all commits, I can see every change that's happened to the repo so far. So far, it's just the initial commit, and then I can see that my group mate has already added the initial Unity project, right? This is most likely what you should be looking at. It's just this initial Unity project. Local changes so far will be nothing, most likely, because we haven't changed anything yet. But this will list any files that we've modified locally that are getting ready to be sent to the repo. At any time in the future while I'm working on this Unity project, the first thing I want to do to get ready to send my files up to the repo will be to go here under local changes, look at which files I've changed, then stage them and commit them. And there'll be other videos about staging and committing files in the future. Excellent. Here I am inside my Unity project. Great. Look how nice and organized this is. My group mate actually did a pretty good job here. It's got this nice organized Unity project, and I can open up this scenes folder, and I can see that here's their scene that they were working on. It looks like level 1, which has their assets within it and their terrain that they were working on, right? This is cool. Now I can see what they're working on. And there was this other scene here that they were working on as well, which looks pretty basic so far. If you're not the first group mate to go and start adding your levels, you might see another level from one of your other teammates. All right, let's import my scene into this project. To do that, I'm going to go to Assets, import package, custom package. And then I'm going to select that Unity package that I exported from my Unity project. It's this one here, davescene.unity package, and hit open. I'm going to be presented with a window that looks like this. It's going to show me everything that's inside this thing, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and hit import. All right. Here's my scene imported from my other Unity project. Check that out. This is the train that I had. And notice I also have that train file, Dave's train as well as Dave's scene. The next thing I want to do is, actually, I want to make sure that my project stays organized. So I have this terrain file here, and it's not stored inside this new terrain folder. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And typically, whenever I'm working in Unity, before, like as I'm working, whenever I'm creating new files and stuff, you really want to make sure you're on top of keeping things organized. So excellent. There we go. Now I've got my scene added to my group project. I've got my group mate scene listed here as well. I can hop back and forth between these just by double clicking on them. Great. Now we're working out of one Unity project. The last thing I want to do is take my files that I've just added to this and then push them up to the repo so that everyone else in my group has them. So I'm going to do what I'm always going to do. Whenever you have changes that you've made that you want to send to the rest of your group, you go back here to Git fork. And you would go to local changes. And this is the process that you would go, is you would stage all the files that you've changed that you want to send to Unity or up to your repo. So I want to stage all the things related to Dave's scene as well as Dave's terrain. If there were some settings modified here, sure, I'm going to go ahead and stage those. I'm going to leave a comment down here saying I'm adding Dave's scene into this. I'm going to do a commit. Great. Now that I have no local changes, the next thing I want to do is I want to do a pull. A pull will check if anyone else has modified files that are up on the server and make sure that you have them. So I'm going to go do my pull. Nothing else has been downloaded. Great. And then finally I'm going to do my push. And it's pushing my data up to the server. Excellent. I can verify that the server has my data in two places. One is I can see the icon for origin/main, which is the version of the main project, the version of the main branch of my Git repo, like the main files that are there, the most updated version of the files. Origin represents the version that's on the server. I can see that that is listed as this one, which is the most recent commit that has been made, the one that I just did. The second way that I can verify that my files are there, that the rest of my group can get it, is if I go log back into Gitlab. Gitlab here will always display the most recent files that are available to everyone in my group. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page. And I can go to repository and then go to commits. The commits will show me what has been committed and pushed up to the server. So I can see that there was the initial commit when the repo was created, the initial Unity project, which was done by my groupmate, and then my scene, which was just added. Once you've made sure that your scene has been added here, and you can see it here under the files as well, then you are essentially good to go. And that's it. Now I'm working out of one repo. I'm using fork to manage which files are being sent up to the server. And I can use this to pull any information that my group is putting into my server, into my Git repo. And we're working out of one Unity project. At this point, you should always be working out of this one Unity project for the rest of the semester with your group. If you ever need to go and work in your own Unity project, you're most likely doing something wrong, or you're working on an individual assignment. If you're working with your group, you want to work out of this one project. And that's it. Pretty simple.